Hello and welcome to Align Your Entire Company with OKRs, a video series brought to you by Continuify. My name is Josh and I'm the founder of Continuify, a fractional marketing operations brand that focuses exclusively within the HubSpot ecosystem and integrated marketplace. This video series is a total of 7 short videos that shares how to establish OKRs at your organization so your entire company is aligned and moving in the same direction. If you want to deep dive into this topic, I highly recommend reading the book Measure What Matters by John Doerr, who used to work at Intel and is now a venture capitalist. In this first chapter of the series, we will focus on creating your annual and then broken down by quarterly company-wide objective. 80% of SaaS brands fail because they don't have a sustainable growth strategy. And when asking employees what the goals of the company are, 95% of them will say, I don't know, I just work here. No wonder most employees don't like working at their jobs. There's no excitement or feeling of being part of something bigger than themselves. Let's start changing that today and building an environment where people are excited to come to work. Larry Page from Google shared that objectives and key results have helped lead us 10x growth many times over. They've helped make our crazily bold missions of organizing the world's information perhaps even achievable. They've kept me and the rest of the company on time and on track when it mattered the most. The reason why these high-level objectives matter is because the reality is there are a million ways to solve a problem. And if you leave it up to your teams, they will all be working at solving the same problem, but with different solutions. Inevitably is going to cost you a lot of money and their time. As the founder and member of the executive team, it is your responsibility to clearly define what matters and in which direction the company is heading. What's important as you are venturing down this path is you try to remove all the politics and ego. Nothing derails a company more than leadership who doesn't quite know what they're doing, but because they own the company, feel like they have to control everything. If you're not sure how to do something, hire a consultant. Get the facts and then share the new vision and objectives with the company. Now that we have all of that out of the way, let's jump into creating your first objective. So the first thing I want to share when creating these objectives is they are not projects. They don't have a numeric goal attached to them. They aren't what your team would normally be doing, and there are no more than 3 per department. Think of it this way. You're the captain of the ship. Your job is to use your compass and just point the ship in the right direction. Leave the rest of the work up to the sailors. So now that we got the don't do this stuff out of the way, let's talk through what you should be doing. There are 4 key questions to ask yourself when creating objectives. What problems or challenges do we need to solve? To better frame this, what are the things that people at your company keep complaining about, but because there is no time, you pretend these things don't exist? Next up, what is stopping us and how can we overcome it? Now that you have an idea of the problems and challenges, what things can you do to solve them? Again, these objectives aren't projects. You don't need to know the how, just know the what. One quick note here is don't create these objectives by brainstorming this step with the entire company, as you'll never get this step done because there'll be too many ideas. Next to last, what could be changed for us to have better results? Sometimes it's as simple as implementing a new way of doing things. How often has someone asked, why do we do it this way? Only to hear, well, that's how we've always done it, and I was trained to do it this way, so that's what we do. Lastly, what can we achieve in 1 quarter? At this point, you probably have an extensive list of objectives, but as the leadership team, prioritize what can be done in a quarter. The idea here isn't to be 100% realistic because when companies usually run OKRs, they typically only complete 60 to 80% of them successfully each quarter. Once you have your list of quarterly objectives separated by department, you're ready for the next step in the OKR process. For those of you who are like, that made no sense, what in the world is this guy even talking about? Here are some examples of what you are shooting for separated by department. As you can see, none of these objectives have a hard target. It's more of a head in this direction and you'll get there, which is the whole purpose of writing these out. You get your entire company moving in the same direction and actually making progress. So now that you've written out a max of 3 objectives per department, let's move on to the next step, communicating these objectives with the rest of the company. I hope to see you there.